You think forgiving everything shows love, but every small excuse you accept slowly eats away at who you are. Every little insult, every ignored moment, it feels harmless now. But one day you'll realize the person you were is fading, almost invisible in your own life. Even your closest friends may start noticing your absence without you saying a word. It begins with tiny moments. A careless word, a quiet put down, a small act you shrug off. You forgive, you smile. You say, "It's okay, I understand." But each time your presence shrinks, your self-respect slips, and the value you give yourself quietly fades. And it often happens in the spaces you think are safe, at home, in conversation, even in the moments you let your guard down. Every time you let a boundary slide, you teach the other person what they can get away with. You're showing that your limits aren't fixed, that your dignity can be bent. You don't see it now, but each "it's fine" slowly builds a pattern, a quiet loss of respect. And the small examples keep adding up. The jokes, the dismissals, the microaggressions, unnoticed until there are too many to ignore. You tell yourself it's patience, it's understanding, it's love, but deep down your soul knows the truth. Every forgiven slight isn't love, it's a little piece of you being erased. And the strangest part? You barely notice it until you almost disappear. By then, even your own reflection may feel like a stranger staring back at you. Have you noticed the subtle shifts, small slights that seem like nothing at first? The voice inside that calls you too sensitive, the small frustrations you swallow. These are the tiny cracks that quietly eat away at respect. And sometimes it's not words but gestures, the tone of a sentence, the way a look lingers, each unnoticed but powerful. Excuses wrapped in care or reasoning hide the real message. Your forgiveness is expected. Your limits are flexible. Every time you forgive without standing your ground, you signal that your space can be taken without consequence. Even small examples of dismissal, like ignoring your preferences or sidestepping agreements, slowly build a pattern you can't easily reverse. And it grows. What starts as small slips turns into bigger patterns, minor humiliations, subtle jokes at your expense, quiet challenges to your authority. Each time you accept it, you reinforce that your voice matters less than peace or avoidance. Friends, co-workers, even your own thoughts start noticing the pattern, quietly questioning your presence. The real danger is in the invisible cuts, not in fights or betrayals, those you see coming. The small, unnoticed moments, the ones you excuse, are what quietly eat away at your presence, slowly, almost silently, until one day you feel gone. A laugh, a dismissive remark, a forgotten promise, all small, but together they form a slow erosion. Every time you forgive without consequence, you pull back. You teach others how far they can go, and teach yourself that your presence doesn't matter. Forgiveness without boundaries is weakness in disguise, even if it feels noble. And it accumulates silently, like water carving stone, invisible at first, but unstoppable over time. Look at how they act when they think no one is watching. That's when true character shows. Not when rules are enforced, not when others are around, but in private, quiet moments where disrespect can hide as a joke or a small gesture. Observing this closely is like peering into the truth behind the mask of civility. It could be a dismissive laugh at dinner, a sarcastic comment about your work, a quiet undermining in front of friends. You forgive, you brush it off, You tell yourself it's harmless, but every forgiven slight is recorded in the invisible ledger of respect. And that ledger doesn't forget. It slowly weighs on your confidence, unseen but heavy. Forgiving without setting limits teaches the world your boundaries can be ignored. The line between kindness and self-erasure becomes thin, and one day you realize you've crossed it more times than you can count. Even small acts, like letting your preferences be dismissed or joking insults slide, add to the erosion. Hope comes in noticing it, seeing the slow loss, naming it, feeling it. This is clarity, not weakness. It is the first step in reclaiming your space, your dignity, the authority that was quietly slipping away. Awareness becomes a quiet, powerful anchor against the tide of disregard. You start to notice patterns. Excuses, jokes, small put-downs that once seemed minor. They are all tests. And the only way to restore balance is through calm, firm, clear action. Standing your ground is not aggression. It's a declaration that your presence, your dignity, your worth are not negotiable. Consequences are not anger or punishment. They are natural results. If someone shows they cannot respect you, you step back. You create space. This is not cruelty. It is honoring the person you cannot afford to lose and the self you cannot afford to ignore. Distance should be calm and firm. No yelling, no pleading. You remove yourself. Your presence is not for negotiation. It is proof of your worth. And when they notice, they understand that some lines cannot be crossed. Each quiet step signals the invisible measure of self-respect. Each time a boundary is honored, you reclaim yourself. The small victories matter, refusing to be dismissed, ignoring excuses, standing firm. Your forgiveness now has meaning because it doesn't come at the cost of your own self-respect. Even subtle gestures like insisting on being heard in conversation reinforce your place. This is the path from being worn down to being whole. Quiet, almost invisible at first. Over time, it reshapes the world around you. Respect returns not from demand, but from recognition that your limits are fixed. Friends, family, and even strangers begin to see the clarity in your stance. Self-abandonment is optional. Forgiving blindly, letting small cuts pile up, that is a choice. Seeing it now means you can choose differently, not to control, but to restore yourself. Even revisiting past slights and reflection allows you to reinforce the boundaries you should never have crossed. The tests will continue. Excuses, small slights, jokes, all of it. But now you are awake, you are aware. Awareness is the seed of change, and with each conscious decision, you rebuild the foundation that was quietly undermined. Your soul whispers, honor yourself. Don't vanish in forgiveness. Don't fade into avoidance. Every small slide teaches your presence can be ignored, and the cost is more than invisibility. It is the slow loss of the man you were meant to be. Even small acts of courage in conversation or decision-making reinforce your essence. Stand firm, calmly, without drama. Consequences are clarity, not revenge. Every measured step restores a piece of yourself you let slip, and those around you notice the subtle power in unwavering presence. With each act of boundary setting, you feel it. The tension eases, the mind clears, the shadow of doubt begins to fade. You feel lighter, awake. Forgiveness now is chosen, deliberate, meaningful. The difference is subtle but profound in daily life. Love, patience, understanding. They are not weakness, but only when they don't demand self-erasure. Forgive and remain whole, and you honor both the other and yourself. Your presence is no longer negotiable. It is deliberate, valued, and felt. You emerge not diminished, not invisible, not a shadow. Whole, aware, dignified. Boundaries are bridges. Consequences are clarity. You reclaim your life, your respect, your very essence. And in this awareness, you stand fully alive, grounded, and unshakable.